like a bee, busy like a bee. Look at me, I'm busy like a bee. I am flying like a bee, flying like a bee. Look at me, I'm flying like a bee. I buzz around this whole town until I find flower that I stop. I buzz around this whole town until I find flower that I stop. And I take a dream, racing like a bee, racing like a bee. Look at me, I'm racing like a bee. I am buzzing like a bee, buzzing like a bee. Look at me, I'm buzzing like a bee. I am bouncing like a bee, bouncing like a bee. Look at me, I'm bouncing like a bee. I buzz around this whole town until I find a flower that I stop. I buzz around this whole town until I find a flower that I stop. And I take a dream, eating like a bee, eating like a bee. Look at me, I'm eating like a bee. Dancing like a bee, dancing like a bee. Look at me, I'm dancing like a bee. Twirling like a bee, twirling like a bee. Look at me, I'm twirling like a bee. I buzz around this whole town until I find a flower that I stop. I buzz around this whole town until I find a flower that I stop. And I take a dream, busy like a bee, busy like a bee.